Hello everyone, my name is Igor, and in this video we're going to be installing the ISR long tube headers and some HKS replica exhaust on my 2005 Nissan 350Z. So this is the car. I already have it jacked up. I'm just going to show you real quick, if you didn't see the previous video, the headers and the exhaust itself. So it is the ISR long tube headers for the Nissan 350Z with the DE engine. Here they are. They come with gaskets and some hardware. Also, another thing we're going to be installing in this video, it's the Catback exhaust I got from eBay. It's the replica of the HKS exhaust, as far as I believe. I have exact same one on a car installed right now. I like how it sounds and how it looks. Quality is decent, so I've decided not to spend a big buck on the exhaust, since it's a drift car and it's most likely gonna be damaged pretty soon, so I decided to go with this option. So we're gonna get to it. I'm gonna start with taking off the Catback exhaust, since it's pretty simple and straightforward process. Then most likely we're gonna have to take the cats separately, and then we're gonna dig into removing the headers, so stay tuned. Okay, so we're underneath the car right now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the mufflers out first, then the middle section, then Y pipe, and then catalytic converters. I hope you guys can see something. And then we're gonna try to take off the headers. Okay, so I have an old Catback off the car. This we can see the Y pipe, it's all scratched up from being low, and I'm gonna show you real quick the damage I've told you guys in the previous video about, if you've seen it. The mufflers part, this is where the axle was bending on when the diff fell down, and it's not very circle shape over here as well, and the other one went up the same way. So this is pretty much the main reason why I am replacing this with pretty much exact same one. We got it out, I'm gonna set it aside, and I'm gonna try to take off the cats next. This is another day already. I went ahead and removed the catalytic converter from the passenger side. Here it is. It's 2 bolts which goes to the Catback exhaust, and 3 goes over here in a header. Catalytic converter meets the header on this side, and this is the passenger side header. It was pretty hard to take it off. I'm gonna dive underneath the car and try to show you real quick how I accessed it. Also, in order to get the header out, you have to unplug the O2 sensor. O2 sensor plug is located over there on the bottom, so I had to unplug that. There is a little flipper like this. You just lift it up and then pull the plug with the O2 sensor to the other side. It went pretty smoothly. Okay, so we are underneath the car right now. You can see this is the driver's side catalytic converter, and the header is still up there. And this is how the passenger side is looking like. So I had to reach over from the bottom over here with the 14mm to undo those 6 nuts. I hope you can see them well over there. So I undid those, took the header out. Right now I'm gonna try to do the same thing on the driver's side, and then I'm gonna have fun putting the long tube headers in there. Stay tuned for that. Okay, so I finally removed the driver's side header. The real struggle I had with this last nut, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. The issue I had, that there is basically no access because of the AC compressor. So I used this tool because you can break it either way. This extension also allows for socket to move a little bit. So that's how I get it out. Right now I'm gonna swap out the O2 sensors to the ISR headers, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I have the sensors installed on the ISR header. It's the driver's side. Right now I'm gonna do the same thing on the passenger side, and then I'm gonna put the gasket, which is included with the headers, on the car, and just gonna install the headers. I got driver's side header installed. All the nuts are tight, both of the O2 sensors are in place, the lower one is hooked up, plugged into the wiring. The top O2 sensor, I would have to extend the wiring. Like I said, you before. We are underneath the car. I have both of the headers installed. So this is the passenger side. This is the driver side. Got the O2 sensors over here. So okay, so it's another day. I don't remember where I left you guys off, so I'm just gonna go through everything what was done already. So headers are on, the rest of the exhaust is on, everything is tight. The bottom O2 sensors are connected because they're pretty much in the same spot they were originally. Right now, what I have to do, I have to extend the wiring for the top O2 sensors because location moved down to the exhaust and stock wiring is no longer reaching over there. So originally I thought that I'm gonna use just the extensions I bought, but one of the plugs, which is right here, this is a harness side, it is plugging in no problem, and the other side there was a different plug which wasn't working for me. So what I'm doing, I'm gonna use these extensions since I already have them, and since the same plug as right here is already on it, and I already cut the other side with the wrong plug right here. I'm gonna cut off the plug from engine harness right here and then splice this extension instead. So I pretty much gonna extend the wiring, but instead of doing two splices over here, if I would have just bought the wire itself, I would have to cut here and then splice the wires over here, and on a connector side I'm gonna do just six splices on each side instead of 12. So to do that, I'm using this type of connector. It's solder and seal wire connector. How it works, you have two stripped wires, you put them inside the connector over here. So for my gauge of the wires, according to this, I have to use the red one, which I'm doing. You want to make sure that stripped wires are gonna go inside of this solder ring, and then you heat it up, the heat gun, and the heat shrink side is obviously shrinking, and then solder gonna melt and go around the stripped wire, and that's how I'm gonna achieve the good connection. Hopefully it won't break over time or anything like that. I think on this side of the harness it should be okay. So I already did the other side. I messed up actually in the side a little bit since I didn't realize that the extensions I have, they're pretty long and I didn't check the length, and right now I have extra wires over here. I don't know yet if I'm just gonna tack it up or redo the connections. So on this side I'm gonna be a little bit smarter, and I'm gonna measure how much of the wiring I actually need. I'm gonna cut it to the size, and then I'm gonna show you how to connect the wires this way I'm gonna be doing right now. So I roughly measured how much of the wiring I need to extend it to the place where I need the connector to be. So what I'm gonna do next, since the color of the wires are different from the engine harness and this extension, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off. Also, I had the battery disconnected before doing any of that, so I recommend disconnect the battery before working on your wiring. And right now, we didn't want to get rid of this piece of the connector yet, because we're gonna look up which color of the wire gonna go to which pin. So we see right now that this light green with the black stripe, if we're looking from the back of the connector, is the pin number 1. So we're looking on our extension and we see that wire on the pin number 1 is black. So we have black wire right here and the green with the black stripe over here. So we're gonna connect black to the green. To work with this method, which I explained to you just right now, what you need to do, I got this wire stripper. It's pretty cheap, like 15 or 20 bucks at Home Depot or something like that. So I'm gonna strip this end of the wire, as well as this one right here. Then I'm gonna go ahead and grab the red connector, gonna put it on the longer side of the wire, since it's gonna be a little easier, because I'm gonna have to move it to the side for now. So I put it all the way through, out of the way for now. And then I want to spread out both of the wires a little bit like this. I hope you can see what I'm doing right here. I'm gonna do the same on the other side, on the engine harness side. Got it spread out. Then I'm gonna kind of put through one wire through another like this, and then I'm gonna twist them together, and then we're gonna put this connector over stripped portion of the wires. You want to make sure that that place where you have your wires stripped are inside this solder ring. So that's what we have right now. I hope you can see the stripped portion is pretty much right in the middle of this ring. And then we're gonna go ahead and heat it up with the heat gun. So heat shrink shrinks together and provides the insulation, and the solder part solders both of those stripped wires together. So I can see some soldering went through the stripped wires, so that tells me that connection, so this wire pretty much done. So I'm gonna have to do it 5 more times, and I'm gonna be done with extending the O2 sensor harness wiring on passenger side. So here we go, the time lapse. So here I have all of these connections, nice and connected and insulated at the same time. So what I'm gonna have to do, just put this sleeve over and then this sleeve over, and I'm gonna tie it down with the electrical tape, and that's gonna be it. I've got this side of the harness all extended, so this is how it looks. Pretty much it's gonna go down there and connect to the O2 sensor down there. So yeah, that's pretty much it for all of this installation of the long tube headers and the exhaust. So I'm gonna wrap everything up, and then I'm gonna show you the cold start of the exhaust. I don't think I'm gonna do some wraps, but I might, so stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you like the video, please hit that like button for me and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay tuned.